Hello and welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben. Often in society, we take the time to recognize and honor those who do the dirty jobs that keep our civilization standing. Soldiers, doctors, nurses, Domino's delivery guys. No doubt, without each one of these groups, America would collapse. But never do we really take a moment to honor bounty hunters, the over-tanned, mulleted heroes who put themselves on the line to take dangerous criminals off the street. However, with Disney's release of The Mandalorian, bounty hunters are finally getting the long-due recognition they deserve. And you'll recall that in Episode 1, the Mandalorian himself meets with a man by the name of Greef Karga, the leader of the Bounty Hunters Guild. So what is this mysterious institution Mr. Karga represents? Well, Star Wars Legends tells us there's a lot to know. But before we get into that, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Dashlane. Listen, stop being irresponsible with your passwords. Leaving your passwords lying around is exactly how a bunch of Jawas walk away with parts to your ship. This is where Dashlane comes in. It's an ad-free mobile and desktop app that's basically a shortcut to everything you do online. It stores your passwords and autofills personal info into forms. Dashlane is a life hack, kind of like this one. Dashlane also keeps your data more secure than any browser will, meaning Claudites trying to steal your identity will have a real hard go of it. As far as bounty hunters go, well, Dashlane's built-in VPN will keep them off your trail. So please help support this channel by using our link below to download Dashlane free on your first device and automatically get a 30-day free trial of their premium version. No credit card required at checkout. Okay, so according to legends, the Bounty Hunters Guild is thousands of years old, predating the old Sith Wars, which started in 4000 BBY. In such times, bounty hunting was a trade, but it wasn't organized or regulated, and the result of this was that rogue bounty hunters would constantly find themselves in conflict with Jedi Knights, which led to more and more bloodshed as time went on. Thus, the Jedi Order, in the spirit of fascism, requested that the government, or the Galactic Senate, step in to deal with the issue. The Senate opted to let the bounty hunters regulate themselves, and so the solution was that the bounty hunters would be permitted to form governing bodies, so long as they followed a set of agreed-upon laws and kept records of their members. To do this, the bounty hunters formed guilds, of which there were many. But eventually, desiring more coordination among the guilds, 4 well-regarded bounty hunters of different races, Thrask, Tisu, Sai-Si, and Ki-Krim-Pon, banded together to found an overarching bounty hunters guild that would unite the smaller guilds, establish standards for training apprentices, and streamline cooperation and communication with the Jedi Order. Joining the guild had its benefits. Members would receive early notifications of bounty postings, meaning they would have a chance to start pursuing a target before non-members, and additionally, many reputable organizations and people, such as Imperial agents, trusted the guild exclusively with their bounties. Now, I don't want to act like the uniting of the smaller guilds under the larger umbrella one meant that there was now one bounty hunting organization with one mind. The Umbrella Guild served its purpose to keep the peace between the smaller guilds and the Jedi, and the smaller guilds and each other as much as possible, and provided the previously mentioned benefits. But other than that, to really understand the Bounty Hunters Guild, one would have to learn about each of the 11 main houses that made up the guild, each of which was a guild in itself. These houses each had their own administrations, specializations, agendas, and even rules to a degree. And individual bounty hunters or bounty hunter groups wouldn't have much interaction with the larger guild, but would mainly report to and work within their specific house. So let's get to know each of the houses. The first house to know is Crimson Nova. Crimson Nova was headquartered at the Rig, a space station located in the Stennis Node, a group of mining systems in the Inner Rim thought to be located in the Iron Sector. Crimson Nova specialized in dealing with the Jedi. Prior to the Clone Wars, Crimson Nova was run by a human named Stroth, who had respect for the Jedi, and thus the guild stayed out of their way. However, when he turned the guild over to Mika, a Far Ghoul who grew up hating the Jedi for killing her parents, she began to take bounties on members of the Jedi Order. This led to an attack on the Jedi living on Null, an arboreal world that was home to Count Dooku's castle retreat during the Clone Wars. And with this event, Crimson Nova gained its reputation for taking Jedi contracts and for being one of the more powerful guilds. Our second house is House Benelex, which specialized in kidnapping retrieval. The Benelex Bounty Hunters Guild, based on Paqualis III, was founded by Corvustan Benelex, a human bounty hunter and entrepreneur. House Benelex operated throughout the Outer Rim territories, employing 1,279 bounty hunters and 7,600 personnel. Dririan defense conglomerate, a blaster manufacturing company, hired Corvustan Benelex to rescue Mardu Avoa, the president of Dririan, from Thalassian slavers. Benelex was successful, but in the process of the mission was injured and forced to retire from bounty hunting. Instead of walking away from the industry though, Benelex, entrepreneurial-minded as he was, met with Chico Tenderis, the VP of Drerian, and asked him for a 2 million credit loan and arms concessions from the company, both of which would help him start a bounty hunting guild. In return, the newly formed House Benelex would allow Drerian to have influence on its creative direction. And thus House Benelex was born, with its bounty hunters possessing certain sets of skills that made them especially proficient at kidnapping retrieval. Next up is House Nuvalis. This guild was known for its secrecy. House Nuvalis would take on bounties from important clients, both private businesses and imperial, but only ones of 20,000 credits or more. Meaning they were in the high-class bounty hunting business and weren't looking to take on small-time jobs. House Nuvalis also had a policy by which if they failed to complete a contract within a year, they would return double the amount of the bounty to the client. The guild was also known for rarely working with outsiders not familiar to them and for being secretive and careful with sensitive information. As a result of all the aforementioned qualities and perks, they became the favored bounty hunting guild of the imperial elite, the customers of which were spending a lot of money, often on important, high-profile targets, and thus needed guarantees and delicacy. However, their close relationship with the Imperial elite also made them a target of the Alliance to Restore the Republic, which would authorize attacks on Nuvalis ships and other assets. As part of House Nuvalis' larger MO of working in secrecy, the only way for a bounty hunter to join the guild was for them to be sponsored by an existing member and then survive an initiation test, a barrier that would be likely to deter subterfuge. Next up is House Paramixer, a guild that specialized in hunting murderers. A major bounty hunter house during the Galactic Civil War, Paramixer was founded by Jank Paramixer, an arrogant military officer who started his guild after losing the use of his legs in a duel. For bounty hunters, tracking down murderers wasn't exactly the most desirable use of one's skill. And so in order to attract hunters to the guild and ensure their loyalty, House Paramixer would treat their members well and provide numerous luxuries that other houses might not afford. One advantage hunters in House Paramixer did have was that they delivered dead captures. As in, they didn't have to keep their targets alive and bring them back in one piece. House Paramixer was also known for its very own in-house developed droid known as the House Paramixer Squire Armorer droid, which was designed to repair and customize their members' gear, provide information on weapons and gear, and even serve as a sentry if needed at the company's headquarters on the planet Denevar. Next, House Wrenlist was a bounty hunters guild that specialized in hunting male fugitives. This was the house of third-wave feminists. Located on the planet Dartus X4 and founded by sisters Jolindis and Gratina Wrenlist, House Wrenlist was an all-female guild. The Wrenlist sisters were formerly members of an Imperial undercover team, but during a mission they were left for dead and were saved by a female bounty hunter. The sisters then abandoned their former lives and founded their guild under new identities. Imperial intelligence discovered the sisters' existence and learned about their guild. But rather than take them down, they decided to forge a relationship with the guild and employ their services. As a result, House Wrenlist became an influential and powerful guild. Next up is House Alectoi, the bounty hunters guild known as the most elite and prominent house. What we know about House Alectoi is that it was led by Gessler Salectori, who inherited the guild and helped it rise through ruthless tactics, all the while putting on the image of a benevolent philanthropist to the public. Gessler Salectori was also known for the assassin droid he employed as a bodyguard. The droid, named GSAD-43, an Arakid Industries AD armorer droid, became a bounty hunter herself, using her weapons and software to track targets. Next up is House Tresario, a guild that specialized in hunting pirates. As you might expect, House Tresario was founded in 8 BBY by former officers of the Imperial Navy. At first, the only motivation was to apprehend and stop pirates, but after the profits started rolling in, its leaders took the necessary steps to turn it into an official guild. The guild, hitting its peak during the Galactic Civil War, took on only bounties above 15,000 credits, most of which were Imperial contracts, given the connections of its founders. With their main headquarters on the planet Baratus II, Tresario had one of the most expansive ranges of operations, as the Imperial Navy needed their help throughout all territories under the Galactic Empire. In order for new members to join, this house required sponsorship by 2 current members and an unusually high annual fee of 1,000 credits, along with 8% of the net value of any bounty. As their specialization was pirates, House Tresario's biggest rival was House Benelex, which specialized in kidnapping retrieval. and many of the kidnappings in the galaxy one can imagine were perpetrated by pirates. Next up, we have the Mantis Syndicate, a house that specialized in hunting big groups of criminals, such as gangs and pirates. The way they did this was by gathering large numbers of bounty hunters together into something akin to a military battalion, which would then hunt the target as a group. The Mantis Syndicate is thought to have been founded sometime either before or during the Galactic Civil War, at which time its owner, Lady Marina Mantis, had the guild working as what was basically the private army of Imperial Governor High Lord Jarrus Afric of the Sarin Sector. Though, following the war, Afric could no longer afford Mantis' services, and thus the guild moved on to new customers. Next, we have the Ragnar Syndicate, a guild that specialized in unorthodox techniques and skills. Okay, now I'm confused as to which guild should be the Liam Neeson one. Anyway, the Ragnar Syndicate was headquartered on the planet Ragnar 8, the capital of Meryl Sector. During the Galactic Civil War, Moff Tragar, the Moff of Meryl Sector, worked with this guild to eliminate suspected Rebel Alliance cells. One of Ragnar's bounty hunters was Noval Geraint, who would go on to take over the famous Kedar crime ring on the planet Kedar and expand the Empire to new heights. Next, Skyne Bounty Hunter College was a guild that specialized in, well, specialists, bounty hunters who were at the top of their trades in a range of fields. Imperial Governor Willick Nereus famously sent a cadre of stormtroopers to Skyne College to be trained as his elite guard. Perhaps the most famous members of the guild were the Renaga triplets, sisters who would use their training to found Renaga Personal Services Cubed, a firm that provided protection from illegal bounty hunting and/or assassination to its clients. Finally, we have the Slaver Syndicate. Based on the planet Karazak, one of the Outer Rim slavery capitals, this guild was known for turning its bounties over to slavers. The Slaver Syndicate was led by Clan Prolurg, one of the Zygerian clans. The Zygerians were a feline-like humanoid species native to the planet Zygeria, another one of the Outer Rim's slavery capitals. The Zygerians were known for their history of violence, war, and slavery, and so their founding of a bounty hunter guild can probably be seen as mostly a way to advance slavery in the galaxy and profit off of it. Anyway, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and comment down below. I know I enjoyed researching and learning about the Bounty Hunters Guild lore. I hope you did too, and I hope that Disney explores it further in the coming years with all their new content coming out. Remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell as well. For now, my name is American Ben, and I'll catch you next time. Generation Films, peace.